Oreo Express, where truth don't hide and we don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll, let's go. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
That's right, folks. Absolutely free. Head over to MyPillow.com. Support an America First company. Support a Patriot company in MyPillow.com. And it also helps us here out at this platform. And again, there are so many things that you don't know MyPillow stocks, carries, and can ship out to you immediately. So, you know what? Freshen up some of those linens, guys. Get some new pillows and be ready for this hot, hot summer. Welcome to the Oreo Express. Thank you for tuning in. Josh here. If I could ask you to hit that like button and that share button, that would be appreciated. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Trump was meeting with the German chancellor, and we got some comments from there. He also, I guess you could say, hit back at Musk's. I think he kept it pretty professional. So we'll talk about that war on words with Musk and Trump. Travel ban issued right after our live stream yesterday, our second show. There's a travel ban. We'll get into that. We'll also get into some Clown World stuff and a lot of court rulings. I think we're going to go over about 5 court rulings, including white people can be discriminated against finally. You know, there's so many protected class, but if you're a straight white Christian, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Well, the Supreme Court's changed some of that. So they've lowered the bar on that. So we'll talk about that and many other things. Let me jump over here right into the chats. Let's see. We got Stu. What's up? Sugar Bear. Trina. Cade, Texas. Let's see who else is in here. Hunter, old Uncle Bill, Mikey Ray, B. Mikey in the house with the American flag. Gotta love that. Yohashua, something. Let's see who else is in here. Oh, I just lost the chat. That's never good. Let's go to the bottom. Karen Sunflower's in the house. Fairness 2020, fishing for fun. I love fishing for fun. I took Caden, you guys know, I took Caden like, what was it, a week and a half ago? Was Memorial Day weekend. I took him out there, I think it was Saturday morning. Get out there before all the partying starts. And I didn't even take my pole. I took his little 2-foot pole. It was probably Blue's Clues or Paw Patrol pole. And it was just a good time. Just sitting out there talking to the little guy. Trust me, if you know Caden, he likes to talk. He likes to talk just a little bit more than most kids. Constant talking. So we talked about a lot of stuff. And he had a lot of questions. And I'm going to have to get out there fishing once we get back from DC. We're going to have to get back out there fishing. B. Mikey gifted a subscription to Fishing for Fun. Thank you. JH Candy Bar. Arizona Skyscraper says good morning. Thank you guys for tuning in. As I said, we got a lot of stuff to go over today. And for some of you, I believe today's the last day to order from the OreoExpress.com/shop. If you want to get your Father's Day gifts, you got some dad shirts on there. You got the Trump coffee mug and then the Punisher skeleton American flag with the MAGA hat. So if you guys want to help us out and help the platform, that would be great. The OreoExpress.com. I got to show this to you guys. Oh, my God. Get jealous here. Get jealous. Don't eat like that often. Last night, we celebrated Father's Day, so Rachel went and bought some steaks. I had the kids here. We hung out. We got some cool gifts. My daughter got me a gift card for this place I've been wanting to go to, and just all kind of goodies, especially with the family around. But that food, man, was it epic. It was epic. I wanted leftovers this morning. If I would have had leftovers, it would have been steak and eggs all day. So it was good. We're going to be out of town in DC for Father's Day. So we got the celebration early when everybody could get together. Both my kids work too much, which is a good thing. The older ones and the little guy, he was having a blast too. He loves when all the family's around. So that was some good times. Good times. Oh, your first gift. B. Mikey gifted another one and gave Pop the Cherry, if you know what I mean. That was their first gift. Good deal. Hey, I just want to show you this video. Why? I don't know. But you already know what state it's in. I'm not even going to tell you. But and I hate hoping bad. Like, I'm getting better, guys. I hate hoping bad things happen to people. Like, well, sometimes I hate hoping bad things. There's some people that deserve some really bad stuff. But ignorant fools. Look at it.
What the fuck?
I don't think they thought that would go on, but I think some of them are missing some eyebrows right now. That is in California. California. It happens all the time. These people, so we broke the law. I'm not going to try to say we didn't. We drag raced every weekend growing up. We took it outside the city, took it to the country roads, and where I was trying to think if there was any damage, it would have been to our own vehicle, our own selves, maybe once in a while. And I don't remember this happen. There were some wrecks out there for sure, but I don't remember destroying anybody's property or anything like that. And it just seems like with today's society, like, I'll be honest, even if I knew I wouldn't get in any trouble, that don't look fun to me. Now, like driving a car, putting a brick on the gas pedal and driving it off the cliff, I wouldn't mind seeing that in live. But just burning something for the purpose of destruction is just crazy. How about this? The Hill. Jasmine Crockett can bring the Democratic Party back from the brink. Jasmine Crockett, huh? And I'll tell you what, this is my honest to God opinion on this. I don't want the Democrat Party continue to destroy itself. I really don't. I want to go back to the Democrat Party that I remember where it wasn't just, there was lies, but it wasn't just all lies and rhetoric. You know what I mean? I want to be able to, at one point, Democrats and Republicans agreed on 90% of stuff. It was how it was funded, how it was implemented, and how the process went was the difference, right? Democrats wanted welfare reform. They didn't want illegals coming into the country and taking American taxpayer dollars. They wanted, from what I remember growing up, they wanted America to be number one. They didn't like China. They weren't grandstanding for China so that we lower the tariffs. They would have been like, yes, let's go after China. They want to do us harm. And so Jasmine Crockett has been labeled in the most, at least in the last couple weeks, as emerging as a party frontrunner, right there with AOC. And I'll be honest, AOC's bad, but she's not as bad as Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett takes the party down to a whole nother level. And that's hard to do when you only got, 19% approval rating from your own Democrats right now. And they think this is what's going to, again, they're polling. They're trying to figure this out. They're spending $20 million on how to figure out to talk to male voters. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Be on the right side of the issues, and put America first. Believe it or not, that's what they want. How about this? We've talked about this a little. There was a boycott for Target from conservatives for a long time, and then Target ended its DEI program, which I go to Target now. I actually try to, Rachel will say, if we got to go buy something and we're on one side of town, she goes, we can go spend our money at Target. And I want to do that. Instead of Walmart or something. And so there's been this outrage from the left, and they want to boycott Target. And they've been saying their boycott's been working. And now profits have fell at Target. But when I noticed it, again, I don't think the Target where I live is very busy. I mean, sometimes it's busy, but it's not like a Walmart. But Target is not a Walmart, if you will. It's not a one-stop shop. Their grocery aisles and what they offer as far as grocery is like 1/10 the size. And a lot of people, myself included, when we go to Walmart, we got to pick up prescription, we're going to get stuff for dinner and maybe snacks as well. Robbie Starbucks shared this out today. It says, wow, USA Today is out with a report that says the left's boycott of Target is backed by bots. So again, social media plays a huge influence in business, in politics. I know some people don't like that. Like one city council person here in Clovis had to call out social media because she knows it's going to change the effect of probably future elections in the city of Clovis. It says after Target announced via video with me that they were dropping DEI policies, post with inauthentic negative sentiment rose 764%. They impersonated Black users. They uses impersonations of Black people to target, to say that Target is racist. This is, Robbie says, this is how desperate the left is to stop progress of our movement to end wokeness. And here's the USA Today article. It said an orchestrated campaign to stoke tensions over Target's rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative deployed fake accounts to flood social media with manufactured outrage, a new report claims. Israel tech firm Cyabra analyzed thousands of posts on social media platform X from January 1st to April 21st as shoppers vented over Target's pullback and activist organized grassroots boycotts. It determined that 27% of the social media accounts it sampled were fake and contribute significantly to the viral backlash. Inauthentic sentiment surged 764% after Target's announcement to roll back some diversity programs. I thought that was pretty interesting because, again, it's just like the race hoaxes and everything else we see. Oh, he called me this, and when the video comes out, oh, he didn't call you any of that. You're Jussie Smolletting us. And so I think this was a good report to come out, because you have to wonder if the execs at Walmart were like, let's just please these people and put DEI back. And I think DEI is going away for the most part. We cover this detestable month of June is labeled Pride Month it's not by the lesbian, the gays, or the bisexuals. No, it's by the group that has hijacked that movement, added the rest of the alphabetic letters, TQPIA plus 397. And it's just unfortunate. So we're going to get into a little bit of fake news, or not fake news, but the hypocrisy. B. Mikey gifted a subscription. Thank you, B. Mikey. Probably going to be Fairness 2020 got that. Thank you so much, B. Mikey. Listen to this. Now, this was a post by Frank Luntz. Not a big fan of Frank Luntz. I think he's wrong on a lot of aspects. He is no conservative. He is a pretty big pollster, though, and he does a lot of, I guess you could say, like town halls. And I love using his information. I think those are good. But check this out. It says Harvard researcher Dr. Sarah Fortune was only 2 years away from creating a vaccine that could have saved 1.25 million people killed each year by tuberculosis. But last month, she received a letter telling her that the 60 million grant funding her research was being halted. And it said she knew the president was threatening to pull grants from the university, but she had hoped her research might be spared. I thought maybe somehow Harvard will escape, Fortune said. I was very naive. Then the scope of the attack became clear. Now, I got to give Frank Luntz credit on this, because they're saying they could save 1.25 million people each year. Trump is a bad man. He's killing millions, right? That's what we've been hearing, right? Look at Frank Luntz's response. A tuberculosis vaccine would be revolutionary. Why can't Harvard tap into their $53 billion endowment to finish creating one? They got $53 billion in the bank, folks. And they're going to let 1.25 million people die per year because they don't want to fund a $60 million grant, or what was a $60 million grant that was a Harvard researcher. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? I'm glad Frank Luntz did that. I don't repost him. A lot of times I think he is wrong on many issues. But what's the answer to that? What's the, Trump's killing these people. Trump's doing this. We hear it all the time. They got $53 billion. What is $60 million to save 1.25? Or is the whole story fake? Because we've heard this time and time again. We've heard these folks say, oh, we were just on the cusp of fixing this issue, but Trump cut it. Well, you've been trying to fix that issue for 20 years. It's crazy. It's crazy. And we got some other stuff too. How about this? And the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because I want to talk about the flow of your tax dollars. First off, the lies we've already heard. Now they are calling the big beautiful bill the death of everyone, or the bill's going to kill everyone. Everyone's going to die, guys. This is like AOC with global warming. We only got 7 years left. Well, we're getting all that propaganda again, but I wanted you to listen to this right here about SNAP benefits.
Have been coming out, like Laura Kelly Our number one focus is on kids and veterans and seniors who rely on food assistance, sometimes for short periods of time. Sometimes a mom who has a number of kids and she's trying to work. She is working, she's juggling jobs, and she qualifies and need that extra help. But there's another angle to this. Our farmers are already being hit with these crazy tariffs. That means they're losing export markets. They're losing the ability for some of their input. And then they've been hit by things like avian flu and the like. And then to add this to it, when they actually produce a bunch of the food for both SNAP and international aid. So that's the first thing. The second is grocery stores. In rural areas, sometimes there's one grocery store in a whole county. It is the hub. They may be smaller chains like Coburn's in Minnesota. They may be independent single groceries, but they have ranging from 5% to 30% to 40% of the people that use some SNAP benefits.
Okay, I'm going to cut it off there. I know she's hard to listen to. But listen to what SNAP has been. So what they are saying, if we're cutting SNAP, now again, it will hurt our farmers. It'll cause grocery stores to close. So what you are saying is SNAP is a subsidy, and it really falsifies what the economy really is. So without your tax dollars, these grocery stores would be closed. So we have a bigger problem than SNAP, right? Think about that. It says kids, veterans, seniors will go hungry. No, they won't. No, they won't. Again, if you're able to work and you are not working, I got to pull this one up. I saved it last night and I forgot to pull it up. That actually shows a graph of what people who are on like Medicaid and SNAP, what they spend their average time doing. And it's watching TV and playing video games for most people. But think about that. Your tax dollars, and this is why I said, even the economy right now under Trump, it's not a true economy. And what I mean by true is if you take away all our taxpayer subsidies to the NGOs, and we told you when we start cutting those NGOs, what happens? There's a domino effect. That NGO that was getting $20 million a year, it was spending some of that money in the community, right? It was buying groceries from the grocery store. It was buying linen service from, Ameripride or whatever. We were filming those people go in and out of there. Those business in turn lose, right? That's okay. That's okay because you were paying those bills and our tax dollars would better be spent by us than an NGO. But I'm going to see if I can find this really quick. I don't know. If I can't find it quick, I'll definitely do it on the next show. But I could have sworn last night when I seen it, I was laughing at the graph. It's just like it's one big hoax. One big hoax. Here it is. I found it quick for you all. I could have sworn. Whoa. That was crazy. Siri's listening to me. Okay. Daily hours spent in various activities by Medicaid receipt and work status non-disabled. These are people that are not disabled. This means they're working, able-bodied people. And I'll have to give you the color code. I know it's small on your end. Without children and not in school. So these are people ages 19 to 64. They do not have no children and they're not in school. Let's take a look at it. The dark blue is working. So I want to put my mouse over it. These are Medicaid recipients. And these are non-Medicaid recipients. I want you to look at the dark gray here. Let's see. TV and video games. TV and video games. Look at this right here. That's the dark red. Look at the difference between the workers. They both equal 42. So Again, if they get rid of just their TV and video games, they'll have plenty of time to work. And these people here, look at, I think that's not bad. They get off work and they go. And then look at the difference between non-Medicaid recipients. Look at, they work even more. When we have Republicans say, listen, we're not going to pay for a 29-year-old who sits in front of his TV playing video games all day, we're not going to pay for them to be on Medicaid. The taxpayer shouldn't subsidize that. So now we're going to move on to the White House, the Oval Office. We're going to talk about it. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz was there, and I want to show you a cool one that I like, and then we'll get into some of the back and forth, some of Trump's response to Elon. Take a look at this. I thought this was really cool. Look at what Trump was presenting.
But I want to thank you very much for, first of all, I want to thank you for that. That's
my pleasure. This is the birth certificate of Donald Trump's grandfather.
That is a framed certificate, birth certificate of Donald Trump's grandfather. That was a present from the German.
1869, close to Bad Dürkheim, right?
Yeah. That's called
and his Christian name was Friedrich.
Right? That's serious German.
Serious
right?
German name.
Serious German. Bad Dürkheim is serious German. But I want to thank you very much for, first of all, I want to thank you for that. That's
my
beautiful.
pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Fantastic. We'll put it up in a place of honor.
Yep.
I don't know, maybe we can, let's see.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool for sure. For sure.
Put it up there someplace.
Now let's get
This
into
is
some
the
of
birth
the other
certificate
stuff.
of
Trump also
Donald
spoke
Trump.
about our military. He was bragging about our military. And he said the numbers right now, 6 months ago, we were at recruitment lows. We had kicked out our servicemen and women over the last couple years for not taking an experimental job. We treated our military like a DEI operation. And when Trump was elected, everything changed, right? Highest enrollment numbers, recruitment numbers. Take a listen to Trump on this one.
In the history of our country. So that's the highest number in the history of our country, we think, but very close. But the highest in the history of our country, recruitment, joining the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, police forces all over the country.
What did you do for that? What was the reason?
Spirit. They love our country again. You know? You're going to do the same thing. Spirit. We have great spirit is back in our country, and it's very simple. And, you know, it was only, Susie, 6 months ago, right, that you got reports. You're the one that released them that you couldn't get anybody to join the military, and now we're stocked. Every service now is packed, and we have waiting lists of people trying to get in, as good as we've ever had in the history of our country. So that's an honor.
That is really cool. We've covered that before. When you have a military that is focused again on protecting our homeland, being war fighters, and not having your leaders wear dog masks and things like that, it comes out good. He also mentioned,
We
and he
had a very good talk.
Truth Social post on this. He had a call this morning with President Xi of China, and he lays it out in his post on Truth, but he also talked about it and answered a question on that. So here is that.
And we've straightened out any complexity. It's very complex stuff, and we straighten it out. The agreement was we're going to have Scott and Howard and Jameson will be going and meeting with their top people and continue it forward. But no, I think we have everything. I think we're in very good shape with China and the trade deal. We have a deal with China, as you know, but we were straightening out some of the points having to do mostly with rare earth magnets.
So those reduced trade tariff rates, they remain in effect?
Yeah, we have the deal. I mean, we've had a deal. We announced the deal, and we'll be I guess you could say, I wouldn't even say finalizing it up, Scott. I would say we have a deal and we're going to just make sure that everybody understands what the deal is. Okay? We had a really good conversation. By the way, he invited me to China and I invited him here. We both accepted. So I'll be going there with the First Lady at a certain point, and he'll be coming here hopefully with the First Lady of China.
So that was one of the questions. And now we get into some of the other stuff. Trump responds to Elon Musk's criticism over the big, beautiful bill. And again, I wish this could have went down differently because, like I said, I like many aspects of the big, beautiful bill, but I'm a chainsaw guy. I want more cuts. I want more cuts. And again, what I think Elon Musk is going off of is like a CBO report. He knows the government lies. He knows the CBO is skewed towards Democrat principles, not democratic principles. And I was hoping that this would cause them to do some changes in the big, beautiful bill. I really did. Not the things that we love, not the 10,000 ICE agents, not the defunding of USAID and stuff like that, or not funding them. But listen to what he says here.
Thank you, Mr. President. The criticism that I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen, regarding Elon Musk and your big, beautiful bill, what's your reaction to that? Do you think it in any way hurts passage in the Senate, which, of course, what is you're seeking?
Well, look, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. It's the biggest cut in the history of our country. We've never cut. It's about 1.6 trillion in cuts. It's the biggest tax cut. You would say, people's taxes will go way down, but it's the biggest tax cut in history. We are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable. And
Thank you, Mr. President. The criticism that I've seen.
That was some of it, and we got some other clips for you for sure. And we also have Elon Musk's response. He must have been watching it or seen it on X and decided to respond. This one here is another clip. And at first, I thought this could go really well. I wasn't upset with, and I'm not upset with Elon. They think this is a war. The left's trying to make this out to a war. Guess what? If I had the money today, I'd still go out and buy a Tesla. How about that? Take a listen to this one.
He's upset. Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk. And even with the black eye, I said, do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup. But he said, no, I don't think so, which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is. So you could make that statement too, I guess. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer, said the best thing. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. And again, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest economic development moves anywhere. We've never done anything like it.
And I want to read a comment. Arizona Skyscraper says, Rand Paul is a blowhard. He knows the Senate does not have the 60 votes to get the cuts passed at this time. I kind of went over that yesterday and discussed it. Trump knows what cards are on the table. Trump would love to cut 20% more out of this bill. But he also knows he'll never get that bill passed because we have a lot of Republicans that have been in Congress and in the Senate for a very long time that only worry about going back and facing their constituents and do not want to make the hard choices. Again, if we should be going after anybody, it should be the congressmen and women and the senators who would not pass a bill any different than this. I like Rand Paul on some of the issues. I think he's a great guy. I think, but I also think a lot of people grandstand for political purposes. There's more than just Rand in there. But again, if Trump came out and said, okay, we're going to cut 10% on this, 10% on this, and this will save, $1.8 trillion on top of the money we're already saving, it'd be dead in the water. It'd be Democrats and fake news going out. Oh, the Republicans can't agree on nothing. They're going to shut down the government, this and that. We already know how it goes. And again, it would be like, and I just want to give you an idea. It'd be like you going to a used car lot. There's a car for $15,000. Now, if you put $14,000 cash up, you might be able to get it, right? But if you go in with $4,000 and say, I got $4,000, I'll give it to you now, you'd make yourself look like a fool, right? That's the understanding. And again, it's because we elect so-called Republicans that aren't necessarily fiscally conservative. And again, a lot of them are still scared of fake news. Trump's not scared of fake news. The Trump administration is not scared. Trump can do something tomorrow and they're going to come out and say, he killed 80 million people, folks. I mean, they're doing it now. They're saying that a big, beautiful bill is going to kill us all. Oh, well, say that. And it's going to be repeated and parroted by legacy media. We got more on this right here. Listen to this.
I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it and you'll let us know.
Listen, we're going to go through this. It's a little bit longer of a clip, and it'll cover some of the stuff we already did, but listen.
I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. And again, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest economic development moves anywhere. We've never done anything like it. Business is spurred. And I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but the numbers came out. Even the CBO, which is run by Democrats, said that we're going to be doing, I'd like you to discuss it, the 2.8 trillion, that CBO. This is a group of people that are Democrats. They're very hostile to us. They just came out with phenomenal numbers, what it does. You want to mention that, Scott?
Yes, sir. So what we've seen is we keep hearing from the CBO that there's going to be a large deficit from the bill, which we disagree with, but using the CBO scoring, they came out and scored the tariff revenue. We think it'll be the minimum of $2.8 trillion over the 10-year window, which actually puts the bill in surplus if you include the tariff revenue, which they won't do.
It gives you a tremendous surplus, but we're not allowed to use that. For some reason, they say scoring. Nobody knows what scoring means. Maybe a couple of people, but nobody. Somebody sits in the background. They say, well, we're not going to allow that. They're not allowing other things that we have that are tremendously profitable for our country. But if you saw the other day, CNBC, they came out with numbers, and the people in the show, very good people, I've watched them for a long time, they couldn't believe the numbers, how good they are. The numbers were incredible. And that was personal income and also very low inflation. We have very low inflation. We're down to 2% now, and maybe even lower than that. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Remember, we had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but let's say I think it's worse than that. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country under the Biden administration. Now we're down to a beautiful number, 2%. You'd actually like to keep it there. Better than zero is 2%. It's going down maybe to 1%, and 1% is like perfect. That's perfect. You don't want to have zero for certain reasons that nobody is very interested to listen to. But we have almost perfect inflation. Grocery prices are down. Everything. Remember eggs? We weren't going to buy another egg for the next 20 years. They were so expensive, right? Remember? You guys all hit me about eggs. Eggs have come down 400%. Everybody has eggs now. They're having eggs for breakfast again. But if you look at gasoline, very important. I think always the most important because it's the energy is the biggest factor. That's what happened. He screwed up our energy policy, and everything went up because energy went up. But now energy is way down, and They have states where you're at $1.98 a gallon for gasoline. So the costs have come way down. And one of the things I ran on was that I ran on the border. We have the best border in the history of our country, 99.99%. It was last week, 3 people came in, 2 of them for medical reasons. We let them in because one of them had a heart attack. I think it was a nice thing to do. And one of them had something else. So we've never I had very good numbers for 4 years, but we're really topped it. And I want to thank Christie and Tom Homan. They've done a fantastic job. But nobody mentions that anymore. Remember, a few months ago, the border was a total disaster. People were coming in by the hundreds of thousands of people a day, a week, a month. I mean, we had a month, 2 million people came in 1 month. The border was being overrun and a lot of bad people.
A lot of bad people. A lot of promises made, promises kept. He also talks about
And they want us to pay
speculating
the things
that Elon could be a little upset because of electric vehicle mandate. I don't know. Check this out. And then we'll give you Elon's response.
Things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, you know, Elon's upset the EV mandate, and, you know, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, you know, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles, and they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, you know, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning, Mr. Secretary. That hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, you know, he recommended somebody from that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he respected him, but to run NASA. And I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, you know, look, we won. We get certain privileges. And one of the privileges, we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General Kane is going to be picking somebody with our, we'll be checking him out, and seeing, but he wanted that person, a certain person, and we said no. And, you know, I can understand why he's upset.
So Elon's response to that, and we'll get into it right here, is whatever. Keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched. Very unfair. But ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. In the entire history of civilization, there has never been legislation that is both big and beautiful. Everyone knows this. Either you get big and ugly bill or slim and beautiful bill. Slim is the beautiful way. And I understand where he's coming from as somebody. You got to understand. I don't think this is personal at all. I think they're going to spat a little bit on social media. The Democrats will have a heyday with it. It's a great distraction, actually. People are talking about that instead of ICE in the streets getting their record number yesterday of arrest. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But Elon walked into Twitter. What did he cut? 70, 80% of the staff. Now, again, unfortunately in politics, if Trump went in there and did everything that needed to be done, we would lose the midterms and we'd probably lose 2028. Again, I'm a chainsaw guy. I would love to do it. But at times, we need to understand that, again, when it came to taking away your Second Amendment right, and I always say that, they don't just put the whole apple in their mouth, Democrats. They take a bite. One bite today, one bite tomorrow, and pretty soon that apple's entirely gone, right? You know, they start off with, oh, well, you can't have this gun. Oh, well, you can't. These are assault rifles. We don't want you to have those. Well, you can only have a 10-round magazine. Slowly but surely, decaying your rights. And I think Elon, when he went into Twitter, he was like, or like a bag of apples he took down. And again, I'm hoping the bill changes a little. I hope there's more cuts. I hope people are upset. But again, that CBO score,
What
that
we've
does
seen
not
is
take into account tariffs, I think makes a big difference. And a lot of times, and we reported on this, when Trump did his initial tariffs in his first administration, the CBO was off by $1 trillion. Not billions, $1 trillion. And I think, let's see, I'll just go on here really quick and show you some of Musk's other comments. So he just tweeted out his interview that says the big ugly bill will increase the deficit $2.5 trillion. He also put Trump without me. Let's see. So I think it's going to be interesting. Let's see who budges first. And again, if we cut more, guess who that benefits? Future generations. Future generation. How about this? It's been coming out. We talked about it yesterday. The U.S. trade deficit narrowed significantly in April as President Donald Trump sharply escalated tariffs before pausing a large swath of levies. So, again, one thing we're worried about is our trade deficit to certain countries. Now we're going to get into some of the court things. You guys ready to talk about some of the decisions made by not only the Supreme Court, but by some other court? Some of them wins for you, some of them losses for you. This one judge blocks Trump administration effort to dismantle AmeriCorps in 24 states that sued over the steep cuts. She concludes that the abrupt cuts without notice comment period violated the laws. Doesn't mean it isn't going to go into effect. Again, we've learned that there's delay tactics, there's obstruction tactics from the Democrat Party, and that's what we're seeing. Lawsuit, Attorney General, just we're seeing this. How many lawsuits do we already got in California against Trump? A lot. And this is the opinion right here. It says AmeriCorps is the nation's national service agency. AmeriCorps operates national service program and funds service programs operated by states, local governments, here's the key word, nonprofits, and universities. For more than 20 years, AmeriCorps have placed thousands of full and part-time volunteers in service programs in every state. These volunteers, supported by federally funding living stipends, childcare and health benefits, and education awards, work on programs that target AmeriCorps' national service priorities such as conservation and protection of forest and public lands, public health initiatives, veteran support, and educational programs. Through AmeriCorps funded programs, volunteers help some of the most vulnerable populations in the country, such as veterans transitioning from combat, homebound seniors, children with learning disabilities, and people struggling with substance abuse. When hurricanes, floods, or wildfires strike the states, AmeriCorps deploys volunteers to support relief efforts, recovery, and rebuilding efforts. These volunteers represent the best of us. So again, this is going to, obviously, this is a stay on that. This will be challenged by the Trump administration, and then we'll get a little bit more information on where we're going. How about this one? Breaking, a federal judge blocked a Texas law that has for decades given college students without legal residency in the U.S. access to reduced in-state tuition, swiftly ruling in favor of the latest effort by the Trump administration to crack down on immigration into the country. So your parents aren't here, you've paid no taxes, you haven't put into the country, and we're supposed to give you a reduced in-state tuition for being here from another country. Nuh-uh. A federal judge just blocked that, and that is good. That is great. Let's see what the comment to this one is. Texas allowed undocumented students in state tuition since 2001, benefiting 20,000 annually. On June 4th, 2025, a federal judge blocked this law after a DOJ lawsuit citing violations of federal law. So that's good. Think about that. Though that means I would have to pay, until this judge did this, if I went to college in Texas, I would have to pay more than a foreigner. How is that America first, folks? Crazy, crazy, crazy. How about this one? We covered this, that the president of Mexico itself, was suing United States gun manufacturers, saying that it fueled cartel violence. The Supreme Court has blocked Mexico's $10 billion lawsuit against U.S. gun makers. That is good news. Thank you, the Supreme Court, for that. Again, I promise you, we have a lot of problems of things coming in here from Mexico. And I can tell you, I've been to Mexico plenty of times. If you want to stop something from coming in, you need better border security. It's not the gun maker's fault that people traffic guns into Mexico. They are sold legally. They are not illegally sold to cartel members or anything else. Trust me, there's a process in the United States. And I think that is good news that the Supreme Court did that. Now, this one, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of this. It's just one of the Supreme Court rulings today when they ruled on their decisions. Supreme Court sides with Catholic charities in case over whether religious affiliated groups are entitled to tax exemption from certain state taxes. Now, Catholic charities, I agree with this ruling, but I also don't agree with who we give tax exempt status for. There should be some rules and regulations. Remember, Catholic charities got a lot of your tax dollars and spent a lot of that on importing illegal aliens. We covered many different Catholic charities throughout this country. But I do agree with the Supreme Court siding with Catholic charities in this, because what it was a lawsuit that the state was saying they had to pay certain taxes, and no 501c3 should have to pay those taxes. But again, should an organization that claims religious exemption be able to go against the will of the country they're in? And that's what Catholic charities did. But we got another one, guys. This one was amazing today. If you're white and if you're straight and if you're Christian, you got to win in the Supreme Court today. The Supreme Court makes it easier to claim reverse discrimination in employment in a case from Ohio. So this case was somebody who was straight and sued because they were passed up on promotions 2 times because the people that they were going against were gay, and the gay people got the job. You know, the DEI thing. This is a huge win. I don't even think it should be called reverse discrimination. It should just be called discrimination. If you're discriminating against me because I'm straight, that's discrimination. Take a listen to this.
So close.
Breaking news, the Supreme Court is releasing opinions. I want to go straight to CNN Chief Legal Affairs Correspondent What are you learning, Paula?
All right, Pam, we've already gotten 4 decisions from the court, and among them is one of the big ones we have been watching. This is a unanimous opinion that will make it easier to file so-called reverse discrimination claims here in the U.S. Now here, the Supreme Court sided with a straight woman in Ohio. She filed a reverse discrimination lawsuit against her employer when her gay boss declined to promote her and instead promoted another gay individual. Now, this is mostly about the bar that members of majority groups, so in this case, a straight white woman, need to meet in order to file these kinds of claims. And here, in a unanimous opinion, they have sided with this woman. So she will, it appears, be allowed to continue to proceed with this. And as you know, diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is something that has been really politicized during the Trump administration, which is one of the many reasons that we have been watching this particular case so closely.
I will tell you what, I am not, I mean, lawfare has been used and lawsuits. I think there's a lot of stupid lawsuits, but I think you're going to see a lot of lawsuits for this because this could also be not just because your boss is gay and promoting other gay people. This can do if you're white and you were passed up on a promotion because of someone that was not white. And what was incredible, all the Supreme Court justices agreed on this. That was incredible. Why am I showing a CNN clip? Because I like the fact that they have to eat this. And that way someone can't say, oh, it's just Fox News. It's just the right. I'm bringing you the words from the Democrat Party. So think about this for a second. We've covered other stories. What was it? The firefighter? Was it in New York that actually won a lawsuit a few years ago that was passed up because he was white and they had a quota to meet? A black person was promoted in that department, which the person hadn't had the experience, been there as long, and he won that case. It's just crazy, guys. It's just crazy. I think that is a win. And this is some of the court notes. It says, petitioner Marlene Ames, a heterosexual woman, has worked for the Ohio Department of Youth Services in various roles since 2004. Imagine youth services promoting gay people. In 2019, the agency interviewed Ames for a new management position, but ultimately hired another candidate, a lesbian woman. The agency subsequently demoted Ames from her role as program administrator and later hired a gay man to fill that role. Ames then filed a lawsuit against the agency under Title 12, alleging that she was denied the management promotion and demoted because of her sexual orientation. The district court granted summary judgment to the agency and the Sixth Circuit affirmed. The courts below analyzed Ames' claims under McDonnell Douglas Corp. Versus Green, which set forth a traditional framework for evaluating disparate treatment claims that the rest on circumstantial evidence. At the first step of the framework, the plaintiffs must make a prima facie showing that that the defendant acted with discriminatory motive. That's a win, guys. That's a win. And again, I hate that. Let's reverse racism. No, it's racism. Let's reverse this. No, it's discrimination, not reverse discrimination. I hate the way we do that. Now we're going to get into the auto pin scandal, guys, for a little bit. So there's been a lot of talk, a lot of things, and Donald Trump sent an order to have this investigated. But listen to this right here.
When you look at these last-minute Biden pardons, the big
Fox News alert, the Biden White House is under investigation, and Trump's got a new nickname for the big guy. He's now called the Auto Pen. Bondi and her team are investigating whether Biden was competent and whether others were taking advantage of him. Did the Auto Pen know what it was signing? The Auto Pen signed 8,000 pardons. But did Joe know? Was the pen going behind Joe's back and letting Hunter sign with it? Did Dr. Jill use the pen? Did donors? We're not sure, but we're finally going to get answers.
When you look at these last-minute Biden pardons, the big ones, Biden siblings, Fauci, January 6th committee.
That's right.
Most of the big ones have the same very neat signature. We would expect that probably to be the auto pen. Is this White House of the opinion that the only pardon that would count is one that the president signed himself?
The president is making a good point when he discusses the usage of the auto pen. Who was running the country for the past 4 years? Perhaps those documents were signed with the auto pen. As you saw, Ed Martin made an announcement at the Department of Justice this morning to launch an investigation because the American people deserve answers.
Donald Trump had his hand an inch from the Bible, about to be sworn in a second time. And the auto pen was on a pardon bender. The Heritage Foundation did their own investigation. Quote, "We gathered every document we could find with Biden's signature over the course of his presidency. All used the same auto pen signature, except for the announcement that the former president was dropping out of the race last year." Then they did a side-by-side. These are the signatures from Biden's final day. Pardons for the family, the J6 committee, Fauci, Milley, all neatly signed, identical. This 82-year-old's penmanship never wavered, not even a smidge. But this goes back decades. The auto pen.
So this could be interesting. My hope is, and I think it's going to be really important, is I want those pardons gone. I want to go after Fauci. I want to go after the sham J6 committee. I want justice. I want anybody who had their hands involved in silencing you, silencing anything about COVID, those that worked against us to silence our First Amendment rights, all these people that Biden pardoned. I want that taken care of. Really quick, before we move on to this right here, let me pull this up. Ooh, coffee time. In my Oreo Express Donald Trump inauguration mug, 47th president, which you can still get on the Oreo Express. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free and mold-free, plus you're getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinion, and a black 1775 tumbler that says, "I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch." $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe in. So go over there, guys, to 1775coffee.com/studio. Check out that. Give them a try and let me know. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you like. Back to the auto pen scandal really
Absolutely.
quick.
Two quick ones for you. If Joe Biden used the auto pen to sign executive orders, and we know he did, those pardons, does that make those pardons invalid?
Oh, I totally believe so. And I actually had some in-depth legal conversations about this topic. If he was not mentally aware of what the auto pen was doing, and from what I understand, it invalidates those orders. So the investigations in the Oversight Committee, which are going to start, I want to stress to people, they're going to start. That, to me, speaks to the core of everything. Did Joe Biden have the mental capacity to execute his job as commander-in-chief? The American people obviously believe he did not. Did he even know what was being signed in his name? And that's going to be the key question. And if he did not, and it's pretty apparent from aides and other staffers held under oath and under questioning, that is the case, then it calls into question a lot of things that were done at the Biden administration.
I would have to agree. We know that even the people that were covering up for Joe Biden are now writing tell-all books to grift off the cover-up when they lied to the American people, like Jake Tapper. He's sharp as a tack. He's at the top of his game. Everything else, we know now that the Democrat Party, the White House, covered up Joe Biden's mental and cognitive decline. Even when we had the tapes released of the transcript from his investigation, when they looked into the documents that he had in 8 different locations, none of his houses were raided like President Trump's Mar-a-Lago was. But when we looked at that and we got to hear, what was it, like a 5-minute clip of Joe Biden rambling on so much that they offer him to take a break. Didn't answer one relevant question. Just rambled on. Didn't know when he left office. Didn't know when President Trump left office. Didn't know when his son Beau died. I mean, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I think many people could have answered many of those questions just from watching this show right here, and we're not living his life. President Trump dropped a presidential memorandum instructing AG Pam Bondi to investigate Biden's auto pen. And this was from a clip, this right here. It says, reviewing certain presidential actions. It says, by the authority vested in me and President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it's hereby directed, Section 1, the President of the United States, as the unitary head of the executive branch, holds tremendous power and responsibility through his signature. Words on paper can become a law of the land. So it goes on. So they are now going to be looking into this. I realize we have a lot going on, but I think this is insane. And old Uncle Bill, thank you for gifting those memberships. A couple memberships on here. I appreciate you. I'm looking back now, and I want to say thank you. You and B. Mikey, appreciate you guys. Totally helps out. And before we go any further, guys, today is Thursday. We will be in, we'll be in the air at this time on our way to DC, guys. Next week, next Thursday, 7 days away from today. We are getting close and we need your help. We are 100% viewer funded here, and we still got some bills here to pay and to have the money to be down there in DC. If you guys want to donate and support us, we would appreciate it. You can donate at Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024. Or if you do online banking or mobile banking and you want to do a Zelle transfer, you can go to our website, theoreoexpress.com. And there's a donate now button on there. Click that. It'll have all the links, including our Zelle link. And I want to say thank you to all those who have helped us out. Again, at the beginning of the month, you always know we got all the bills to pay, lights, camera, action. But on top of that, we also have a trip to DC, which we will be joined by Matt, First Amendment Media. We will be down there giving you on-the-ground coverage, covering some protests, but more importantly, the military parade that's going to be going on in D.C. So I want to say thank you to all you guys who have blessed us with your donations. We can't do it without you, and you guys are the reason why we are still on the air. So thank you guys so much. Here was a comment from Donald Trump on the auto pen.
And who's using it? I happen to think I know, okay?
Your predecessor dismissed your auto pen investigation. He said he made all the decisions during his presidency. I'm curious your reaction to his dismissal.
Well, look, the auto pen, I think, is the big scandal outside of the rigged election of 2020. I think the biggest scandal of the last many years is the auto pen. And who's using it? I happen to think I know, okay, because I'm here. And I'm not a big auto pen person, fortunately. I'm glad. I'm very glad. It's an easy way out. But it's a very bad thing, very dangerous. You know, I sign important documents. Usually when they put documents in front of you, they're important. even if you're signing ambassadorships and I consider that important. I think it's inappropriate. You have somebody that's devoting 4 years of their life or more to being an ambassador. I think that person deserves to get a real signature, not an auto pen signature. And I can tell auto pen easily. I can look at it like two little pinholes from pulling the paper, right? You always see the pinholes.
Yeah.
It's real easy to tell about auto pen. I think it's very disrespectful to people when they get an auto pen signature. Outside, auto pen to me are used when thousands of letters come in from young people all over the country and you want to get them back. And, people use auto pens for that, to send a little signature at the bottom of a letter. We have thousands of them. We get thousands of letters a week. And it's not possible to, do. I'd like to do it myself, but you can't do it. To me, that's where auto pens start and stop. But I'm sure that he didn't know many of the things. Look, he was never for open borders. He was never for transgender for everybody. He was never for men playing in women's sports. I mean, he changed. I mean, all of these things that changed so radically. I don't think he had any idea that frankly, I said it during the debate and I say it now. He didn't have much of an idea what was going on.
Mr. President.
So that was Trump's comment on that today. Now we're going to move on. I love this. You can run, but you cannot hide. Take a listen to this.
Police department with a warrant. We saw violent offenders just walking around the streets of New Jersey. And U.S. Attorney Alina Habba says, listen, this is not going to happen anymore in my home state. So she teamed up with U.S. Marshals who were going after the worst of the worst as they knocked on those doors and said, you can run, but you can't hide. Police department with a warrant. Open the doors. An early morning raid in Newark, New Jersey. This team out serving a warrant for a suspected Tren de Aragua gang member, wanted for a string of armed robberies on New York City subways. Come out now. And outside that door, interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba.
We're doing multiple cases at once to make sure that we clean up as quickly as possible.
Habba and her team waiting for that main target to surrender, but he's not home. Instead, these migrants who the feds say are all in the country illegally finally come out. Where are we going now?
Now we're going to go to another Newark location to get a female who shot her partner, also gang affiliation.
This New Jersey woman arrested after investigators say she recently shot at least 2 people. A short time later, another bust in the Garden State. This guy wanted for aggravated assault nearly got away on the fire escape. What's your message to those people who think they're going to hide out from your team here in the streets of New Jersey?
Well, you can run, but you cannot hide. And I think that the message is loud and clear.
And this
is epic, guys, because it's happening. Yesterday we covered there were some raids in California, Minneapolis, multiple places. They're getting the bad guys off the street. These are the people that Democrats want in your neighborhood. They want near your children's schools, your grandchildren's schools. When you go out to eat with your family, those people are right next to you. I don't care if they're illegal or not. We need to get them off the streets, all the bad guys. We have a revolving door in many, especially these blue states like California, and you are going to see a year from now crime down so significantly. The Washington Post is going to say something like, it's a complex issue why crime is down. We're going to know why crime is down. Check this out. Yesterday, again, I talked about at the beginning of the show, and I said, I'll show you what I put, but major update. This is a post we did. President Trump announces a sweeping travel ban affecting 12 countries, restricting all nationals from Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Congo, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Equatorial Guinea. And partial restrictions also apply to Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Turkmenistan, Venezuela, Togo, and Burundi. And this was the travel ban alert. And I think some people, and now I'm all for this. Some people think we should have added maybe even China on this. But I think this is needed for this time. but I also think we need to figure out a way to have extreme vetting for the good people and the people that will benefit America by coming over, because there is those people. And but I think this is absolutely needed at this time. I think that this is progress in this administration. On our next show, we'll probably cover some of the backlash from all the Democrats. I'll actually cover one here in a minute. But before I do that, listen to
Foreign
Trump's
nationals
statement.
who are not properly vetted, as well as the attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them. In the 21st century, we've seen one terror attack after another carried out by foreign visa overstayers from dangerous places all over the world. And thanks to Biden's open door policies, today there are millions and millions of these illegals who should not be in our country. In my first term, my powerful travel restrictions were one of our most successful policies, and they were a key part of preventing major foreign terror attacks on American soil. We will not let what happened in Europe happen to America. That's why on my first day back in office, I directed the Secretary of State to perform a security review of high-risk regions and make recommendations for where restrictions should be imposed. Among the national security threats their analysis considered are the large-scale presence of terrorists, failure to cooperate on visa security, inability to verify travelers' identities, inadequate record keeping of criminal histories, and persistently high rates of illegal visa overstays, and other things. Very simply, we cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. That is why today I am signing a new executive order placing travel restrictions on countries including Yemen, Somalia, Haiti, Libya, and numerous others. The strength of the restrictions we're applying depends on the severity of the threat posed. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise, new countries can be added as threats emerge around the world. But we will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm, and nothing will stop us from keeping America safe.
Amen. Amen. You got to do what you got to do. People might not like it. People might love it. Just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So this came out yesterday. This next one, we're going to get into some immigration talk. Oh, but before we do, let me pull up this one here. I just think it's absolutely incredible. Because you knew the first person that would be the most upset was Ilhan Omar. And listen to what she says. This is her tweet. It says, this discriminatory policy is beyond shameful. Just like his first Muslim ban, this latest announcement flies in the face of basic morality and goes directly against our values. You know what's funny is she don't share any American values. She's on record not sharing American values. It says this racist policy will not make us safe. It'll separate families and endanger lives. We cannot let it stand. She's also upset because Senator Ted Cruz is putting a bill forward to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, which should have been done 15 years ago. So keep crying, Elon. ICE made the most immigrant arrest in a single day in its history. Tuesday, remember this Tuesday, detaining more than 2,200 people, according to a source familiar with the arrest and an ICE spokesperson who confirmed the numbers as the agency responds to pressure from the White House to rapidly increase arrests. You're thinking, well, that's good news. But we beat that on Wednesday. a new record on Wednesday. Says this is from Bill Malugan, a senior ICE official, tells Fox News that ICE made 2,368 nationwide arrests on Wednesday, a new daily record high for the agency. It comes just one day after setting the previous record high on Tuesday with 2,267 arrests. And its significant increase over the daily average of 1,600 ICE arrests last week. We have now seen back-to-back record days of record high ICE arrest, which I am told can be attributed to increased enforcement at work sites, immigration courts, and scooping up collaterals. People in the U.S. illegally who were found with an ICE target, but were not the target themselves. ICE sources tell Fox if the big, beautiful bill passes as advertised with funding for 10,000 additional ICE personnel and tens of thousands of new ICE beds, ICE will be supercharged and arrest will shoot through the roof. White House wants 3,000 arrests per day, and ICE is getting closer to it with its limited and current resources. I voted for this. I don't know about you guys. I voted for this. I just love it. How about this? Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, who is sanctuary mayor. Listen to what she says.
Of any police department that routinely wears masks. We know that there are other groups that wear masks. NSC 131 routinely wears masks.
Mayor, just to clarify, are you comparing ICE, you said, to NSC 131, the neo-Nazi group? Are you comparing them to a neo-Nazi group?
What I said is that Boston Police and no police department that I know of at the local level routinely wears masks. I don't know of...
So there she goes, comparing ICE to Nazis. This is the rhetoric that gets 413% increase in assaults and violence against ICE officers because of people like this. You know, I hate to say it, but it's amazing when you look at these people that don't look like their family's been here for generations, like many of us. And I've always told you, legal immigrants are probably the most loyal to this country. There's many legal immigrants out there at some of the events we go to. And the reason why is they've came from countries where the mayor's family would be from, and they hated the communism. They seen what happens to their families. They seen the destruction. And so they love and support this country overwhelmingly. And then you have people like this Democrat here, who's an open borders Democrat, comparing our ICE officers to Nazis. It's sick and disgusting, and it will backfire. Listen to this. I thought this was
You know that they're wearing
because
masks
all of a sudden they're worried about people wearing masks. Trans Tifa and Tifa have been doing it for years. Black Lives Matter did it so they wouldn't be identified when they were robbing, looting, stealing, and murdering in the streets of many of our cities. They didn't have a problem with it. Just on Friday evening, I was violently assaulted by someone wearing all black bloc with a black mask on. Liberal news didn't have an issue with that. But when it comes to our law enforcement doing it, and listen to this, because this is the rhetoric. This woman is just miserable.
I should say it's a safety issue. I did about that specific issue there, but when you look at the statistics of who they're actually arresting, you know that they're wearing masks because they're not making good on the promises that they made to the American people of arresting criminals. 70% of the
they're
people
wearing masks because they're embarrassed. Is that what you're saying, Jessica?
Yeah, I do think
really?
that
How
they're
do you know
embarrassed.
that? How do you know that?
Wearing masks because they're embarrassed. Listen to this.
Well, I would be if I was
That's
the
mind
ICE
reading,
agent.
and it's absurd.
You have
It's
no
mind
evidence.
reading, and it's
Well,
absurd.
they should be ashamed of what they're doing. If you are the ICE agent that's picking up a 17-year-old kid on the way to volleyball practice who's been here since he was 5 in Massachusetts, or there was a Missouri woman who's been here for 20 years, mother of 3, going to a routine check-in that's being arrested. And you know what they're doing? They're trying to satisfy Stephen Miller, the conservative Washington Examiner, a conservative paper, has this quote out of a private meeting where Stephen Miller is screaming at agents, what do you mean you're going after criminals? Why aren't you at Home Depot? Why aren't you at 7-Eleven? They want to pick up everybody who is here illegally, which is not what he campaigned on. He said we're going to get the bad hombres and the criminals out of here.
Not true. He said, if you're in this country illegally, you should be afraid. We're going to deport illegal aliens. We literally, at the RNC convention, they handed out bright red and white signs that said mass deportations now. Tom Homan also came through and said, if Democrats are going to do the sanctuary policies, there's going to be collateral damage. If the police departments and the cities and the states will not work with us, and we go arrest somebody who's a criminal and they're with 10 others in the room that are here illegally but are not committing other acts of criminality other than being here illegally in the United States, they're going to. We know what Democrats said? Try it. And they are. Again, Trump has already offered relief for DACA. He did in his first term just to get funding for the border wall to secure it. Democrats said no because they had a plan for 2020. They had their open borders planned. So don't give me this. Don't give me this. And then she said that these people are embarrassed. I showed you a video yesterday. Let's see if this guy sounds embarrassed.
But you should be hiding your face. You're not doing anything wrong.
They're shameful.
It's not shameful, ma'am. It's safety.
Safety?
Besides everything, and we have our own family to worry about.
Right, because it's a shame that you're doing this.
Not shame. I'm proud of what I do.
I'm proud of what I do. And I can tell you from the personal conversations I had with with Border Patrol back under the Biden administration, they were ashamed of what they were doing. Many Border Patrol, they didn't want to be Ubers for the cartel. They didn't want to be sandwich makers for illegals that are coming into this country to live off the taxpayer. You could see the morale was so low at Border Patrol. When we were off camera and got to talk to some of them, there were some of the places we stayed in Eagle Pass where it wasn't that big of a city. So if you went to your local, whatever restaurant it was, and you sat at the bar because we were there alone, and there'd be 3 or 4 Border Patrol sitting right there. And the conversations, it was like, man, people wanted to get out so bad. And now, thankfully, guess what? They're getting to do their job. Hey, don't forget, guys, we have less than 7 days till we will be in the air to DC. We're going to be covering the military parade, celebrating 250 years of the greatest military on earth. We'll be bringing you live coverage. We'll also be around covering some of the protests and just some of the things that go on in DC. We are 100% viewer funded, and we do need your help. If you would like to bless us with a donation, we would appreciate it. We can only do this because of you. You can go donate at Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $ Oreo Army, GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024. And if you use mobile banking or online banking and want to do a Zelle transfer, that would help us out tremendously. If you want our Zelle link, you can go over to the OreoExpress.com. And there's a donate now button there on our homepage, and it has those links. I want to say thank you for old Uncle Bill and B. Mikey for the gifting of the memberships here today. And anybody else, I didn't see anything else. Let me just make sure I didn't get any notifications for anything else. Oh, wrong button. I don't know if it'll load in time anywhere. Transaction failed. Up. I got an issue with the website I got to fix. Hold on 1 second, and then we'll get this. So, yeah, guys, next week, Thursday, we'll be in the air heading to D.C., meeting up with Matt, First Amendment Media. We thank you. We thank you for the support. And again, I don't sell anything else on here. So thank you, guys. We will be back live in probably about 3.5 hours, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. So if you guys would mind, please hit that like button right now before you leave. We can't do it without you. We want to say thank you for tuning in. And it helps us out tremendously when you hit that like button. We will see you soon, and God bless.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.